Hey, what's happening, everybody? My name is Dev. I've been a serious guitarist for over 3.5 decades. I want to help you improve on this instrument. There's 4 basic chords that we're going to go over. The shapes as chords and as arpeggios. The major 7th chord, which in this case I'm playing A as the root. So the root's going to be on the low E, and then the 7th is going to be on the D, and the 3rd on the G. That's our major 7th. You can see why it's called a broken 7th chord. At least that's how I learned it. There's a space here. We're not playing any 5th. Root 7 3. I've also heard them called root 7 3 chords. So that's the shape for major 7. We'll also be doing dominant 7, minor 7, and full diminished 7. So that's full diminished 7, not minor 7 flat 5, the diatonic diminished 7. Don't worry about it too much. If you want to deep dive into the full diminished 7th, I'll put a card up here and a link in the description. I did a full 20-minute video on why diminished 7ths absolutely rule. Check that out because they absolutely do. They're going to be part of our 4 chords that we're going to use here. Major 7, dominant 7, minor 7, and diminished 7. So those are the 4 broken 7th chord shapes that we'll play. And then we'll also be playing the related arpeggios. So broken 7th for major 7 looks like this, and then its arpeggio will look like that. So again, the chord shape and then the arpeggio. And you can see they share the same root. Next, our dominant 7 shape looks like this for the chord, and the arpeggio looks like this. Now, I know these are videos, you can pause them and practice as much as you need before we move on. Don't expect you, if these are new shapes for you, to be able to just follow along with this. Just keep that in mind. No pressure, just take it at your own pace. But learning all this stuff I think is going to be really, really helpful, especially when you can put it together. It'll unlock a lot of the fretboard for you. Next is the minor 7. Again, minor 7, the chord shape, and the arpeggio. And then our diminished 7th, finally. See, diminished 7th is so great. One more time. Again, feel free to pause here and get familiar with each of those, because the next thing we're going to do is apply first the chords to a full key, and then we'll add the arpeggios to those. So feel free to pause here if you need to. But let's start with probably the most common key on the guitar, G major. So we'll start with the chords in the key, which I'll put up over here. And then these are what the 7s would look like for those. And that'll give us a map for what broken 7th chords to play. And then once you get to the diminished, you can choose to either end happy, back on the major root, or you can end sad on the minor root. It's kind of cool. You get to express yourself even within the confines of this exercise. All right, that's how cool the guitar is, right? All right, so let's do those chords again one more time. G major 7, A minor 7, B minor 7, C major 7, D 7, E minor 7, F sharp diminished, and then we get to choose if we want to end on the relative major or the relative minor at the end. All right, so next thing we're going to do is just apply one arpeggio at a time if these are new to you. So I'll start by just taking each of the major 7ths. Every time I play one of those, I'll play the arpeggio on top of it. So in any chord that is not that, I'm not going to play the arpeggio. I'll just play the chord until I get to the next major 7. So all together it'd be then end. So now I've got the two major sevenths in there. Let's add those minor sevenths. So anywhere I'm playing a minor seventh chord, I will also play the arpeggio. So that's almost everything other than the diminished and the dominant 7. So we'll add the dominant 7th in first. Let's play the chord right though. Now you can see adding that diminished 7th at the end is going to allow us to choose to resolve happy or sad, and it'll all like kind of come together. It'll all feel right. So that's the key of G major like this. Again, feel free to pause here and get into that. It's a lot to absorb if this stuff is new to you, but there's two more things that we can do to this. So make sure you're comfortable with that before you continue with the video. If you're already comfortable with that, cool, let's do this. Let's move it into another key. And we'll do probably the second most common key of C major here. We'll start with C, D minor, E minor, F major. I'm kind of running out of fretboard here, so I'll just move the G down an octave and continue here. So by doing that, just moving down an octave whenever you start running out of fretboard space, you'll be able to apply this to any key. So one of the other things that you can do that's really fun, I think is really fun, is start introducing some modal interchange now that we've got a map of a key. We're going to stay in the key of C major here. I'm going to make a couple alterations that I know that I like to make. So we'll take that diminished 7, we're going to move it down a half step. I'm going to go from B diminished 7 to B flat major 7. And we're also going to take this F major 7, the Lydian, and we're going to turn it into a minor 7, kind of implying it being Indorian. Now, I should say that modal interchange is a very deep topic, and I did 2 whole videos on it at the end of season 1, which was the Autumn of Modes. So check that out. Super proud of those videos. I'll put some cards up here and links in the description, of course. But that's not what this is about, so I'm going to give you a kind of a starter kit for it here. And then minor, and then, so those are alterations that I've made from the key. I'm going to play those as arpeggios so we can hear the whole altered chord progression together. So that seemed to like introduce some really cool tension, and I can play now with that chord progression or that set of chords rather than just the diatonic. Might give this particular song or exercise or whatever I'm doing at the time a little bit more flair than the usual. Yeah, that's one of my most favorite things about using these broken seventh chords. I'm back in G major now. It's a much easier way to experiment with other chord progressions or outside chords, chords that are outside of the key. It's much easier to do that with this and find some interesting things that may or may not work. Kind of like that B diminished. And I'll go back to the diatonic. Those chords kind of seem like they all fit together. And these, those last two, that B diminished and A dominant 7, are outside of the key, but they sound kind of good. I'm not sure I would have arrived, certainly not at B diminished, without such simple chord shapes. Let's see how that all sounds. Oh, I like that. I'm totally going to use that B diminished, or that like diminished 3, like diminished 7 for the Phrygian. Kind of stumbled across that in this video. It was pretty cool. Anyway, I hope you found this as useful and as energizing as I just found it. I'm also going to put a link in the description to sign up on my email list. That'll give you immediate access to the Guitar Chord Survival Kit PDF, the second edition of which is coming out very soon, actually. Make sure you like and subscribe so you don't miss out on anything else. This is only the second video in the winter woodshed here. So keep jamming, and I'll see you soon. Cheers.